morning of February 6, 2020, West Virginia Division of Highways crews detected a problem with the expansion joint on the eastbound lanes of Interstate 64 on the St. Albans Nitro Bridge. The temporary closure of both eastbound lanes served as a reminder to those traveling the busy stretch of interstate of the importance of each bridge crossed each day, and the work of bridge repair crews which often goes unnoticed.
Our SCARI headquarters that takes care of I-64 in that area, that stretch of I-64, had called our construction superintendent and said that there was an issue with the tooth dam, the expansion dam on Donald Legg Memorial Bridge eastbound. So he went down there within a matter of minutes, and he called me once he got there and assessed what was going on. He said we've got a big issue, and he said this expansion joint is getting ready to come out in traffic if we don't close it. So I said, if you feel that way, and he's been around construction for a long time, I said, if you feel that it's that critical, shut it down. I said, I'm on my way. So Warren Skaggs, our bridge design engineer, and I immediately left and headed that way. On the drive down, of course, you've got a mental image of what the person just told you verbally, so you don't have any photos or anything to go off of. So, you know, I heard how he described the situation, you know, what the joint looked like and everything. And on the way down, I was trying to come up with a repair scheme that we could minimize disruption to traffic, possibly get the traffic moving back in an hour or so. And you know, I had a few alternative ideas that I thought maybe we could get traffic open as quickly as possible. Well, when I got there and saw it, I said, any idea I've got is not going to work. This is going to require a long-term closure. I'd hope to, you know, do some kind of a temporary repair, get traffic moving, and then come back during non-peak hours, maybe weekends or something, give the public notice, 2 or 3 days notice, so they could arrange their schedules and not be a hindrance to them. But given the condition of the joint, there was no way we could do anything. So we went in and did a permanent repair over a 48-hour period, or it actually ended up being less than 48 hours.
I was pretty much on the phone coordinating from Glade Springs to Charleston with traffic engineering, with District 2, with the commissioner, with the people on site, and with Tracy Brown to make sure that we were doing everything we could to alert the traveling public and to make sure that everybody was on the same page. Once I arrived on site, I was looking over the situation. Immediately was in touch with our maintenance organizations, making sure we were out flagging at some key intersections, contacted traffic engineering, and with their help, coordinated with local law enforcement to get them out at some key intersections, as well as to help us up on the interstate to make sure our crews were safe while they were doing their work. They worked into the night and through the night to get the existing finger dam portions busted out and reformed, as well as to re-level the finger joint expansion dam. The next morning I arrived, they were already in the process of forming up to do the pour. They were underneath the bridge and had to go bay by bay to insert forms to hold back the concrete that they would be pouring on top. It took them most of the day. It was a very cold and snowy day. When those type of environment, things move slower, but they worked very hard and very diligently throughout the whole process, worked well with each other, and worked well with us to make sure that they had what they needed when they needed it. We worked with traffic engineering throughout the day and giving updates, and TMC also helped coordinate with the local law enforcement throughout the day to make sure that we were doing everything we possibly could to alert the public, to let them know that the interstate was still shut down.
Wayne called me at approximately 1 or something like that, and we went down Thursday afternoon. I met Tracy down there, and we assessed the situation. It was broke all the way through. And we got together, we got a game plan. We worked nonstop till we got it done. We cut it out, and it's a multi-talented group. I mean, there's nothing that any of them can't do. and they all done a fabulous job. I mean, there was welding involved, there was carpentry involved, there was concrete involved, there was cribbing work to be done. And under the bridge, we had a truck we had to go under. We had to figure out a way how to get the plywood up to hold. We had to wire it in, and we saw cut it and took a ram hoe, and Brian, he done a fabulous job breaking it out without disturbing anything. Had to go back in and put shims in, and they done that throughout the night Thursday. Those boys worked from 7 o'clock to 7 o'clock. They was here at 7 o'clock Thursday morning, and they left here at 7 o'clock Friday morning. Josh and I came in at 5 o'clock Friday morning and was on the bridge. And then when they got there, I had sent 3 guys to get the equipment, the materials we needed, and we took 6x6s and went underneath it and cribbed it and timbered it in order for it to hold. And once we got that done throughout the day, and it was cold, you know, I would do a bay, Chuck Young would do a bay, I'd do a bay, and Chuck Young would do a bay. But the crib work, that was the most vital part. I mean, if you didn't have that right, and the amount of weight and the way it had to apply the concrete, that had to be done right. If it failed there, we was really in trouble.
District 2 worked very hard and very diligently with us as well to alert the traveling public as far back as the state line. We also contacted Ohio and Kentucky DOHs to inform them of what was going on, as I-64 is a major artery through the east coast of the United States.
I guess I was first notified by our immaculate TMC systems, where I was notified of a road closure and an incident. These systems work really, really well. So immediately upon getting that email on my iPhone, I reached for the dial part and called my district manager to start getting plugged in. Understood exactly what was happening pretty quickly. Obviously, he had already been communicating with staff, and they were getting people out there to take care of traffic control, getting the bridge folks out there on the way. The system works. It's state of the art. It works very, very well. Once I understood there was an incident, and by the way, Secretary White and I were on our way to our SASHTO Board of Directors meeting. As the leadership of the DOH, we represent our West Virginia DOH as one of 13 member states. So it was the time for the annual board meeting for that. So we were actually in the middle of Georgia when this first occurred, and we were first notified. So traveling up the road, a road that really didn't measure up to the West Virginia roads, I might add. We were way ahead. So actually, then I got on the phone, I talked to my district manager, I called the bridge engineer, I called my special projects manager, I talked to my communication folks. I wanted to make sure that the public was involved. I spoke with Randy Dameron on the phone directly. I spoke with Jennifer Dooley on the phone directly. I spoke with Brent Walker. We were really focused on getting that. I talked to the traffic director, Cindy Kramer. Jason Foster was on his way to the scene out there to actually take care of directing and supervising the traffic control setups and make sure we had those detours. And actually then communicated with the District 2 manager all the way over in Huntington to make sure that we had plenty of advance, above and beyond measures out there, so folks could really understand where to go, what to do, how to get through this area safely.
Well, today, the I-64 Nitro St. Albans Bridge had the expansion joint problem. I got stuck in traffic traveling back from Huntington on I-64. And I've got past the Thames Valley exit headed toward the bridge and noticed the tremendous traffic backup there where US 35 meets I-64. But I ventured up into that traffic stop, and it took some 2 hours. But the point that my involvement was that I received a call from Commissioner Jimmy Riston, and I told him, well, I can give you an eyewitness. I'm stuck in the traffic, and learned what the problem was. Commissioner Riston mentioned 2 points. First point being the assessment of the problem and how long it would take to correct it, and of course how long the bridge would have to be closed. And the second issue was all that traffic that I was stuck in. So I reached out to the governor's office and we talked about a press conference. I then immediately called the 2 Charleston radio stations who broke in live on the air asking people on I-64, alerting them to go ahead and exit off either at Hurricane or at the Tays Valley exit and catch another route back up into Charleston. The turnaround time was extremely quick, I thought. I also reached out to Brent Walker regarding a press release. But I'm very proud of how the Division of Highways acted in such a rapid response, not only to fix the bridge, but to get the traveling public back to traveling again on I-64.
Right then, I told our construction superintendent to close the bridge down, all eastbound traffic. We don't want anybody getting hurt. We don't want a safety issue. So that happened. Of course, you know, that's a major volume interstate, one of the busiest in the state, one of the busiest stretches in the state, and we don't take that lightly.
Sometime after 10 o'clock on Thursday morning, Deputy Commissioner Jimmy Riston called me, said that there was a problem on the I-64 bridge at Nitro or near it, and would I go out and assist in assessing what was going on the interstate. I responded to that call, immediately left. About 10:50 is when I got on the scene, but I'd already spoke to Tracy Brown via telephone. Found out that his inspector had determined that the road needed closed just to assess the problem. So the interstate, Ed Smithers, the interstate supervisor, had already set up a closure at St. Albans to divert traffic eastbound. When I got there, Tracy felt like the interstate needed to be closed. We couldn't be sure until we looked under the bridge. I was able to go under the bridge. We completely agreed with Tracy's inspector that this was a immediate need for repair. So around 11 o'clock, Tracy began the process of organizing the repair. I began the process of organizing the detour and notifying our TMC and various other folks to update them on what had to happen. During the dialogue over the next few minutes, we explained to TMC the issue. We also confirmed that it would take a minimum of 24 hours, but most likely 48. So I made the decision to request a 48-hour closure to go ahead and notify our adjacent state partners in the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet and ODOT that we needed assistance in advanced signage to try to divert as much truck traffic as we could to reduce the amount of delay. Those things all occurred in just the first few hours of the assessment. So we very quickly got notifications out. We established monitoring of detour routes. We got all those changeable message signs out at key intersections and interchanges. And then about 3 o'clock, it was about 2:30 or 3 o'clock, Tracy and I left the scene to come to the Capitol to update not only the officials here, but the public.
I'd like to mention that we brought these boards in just to represent that we're making every attempt through our message boards and changeable message signs to begin alerting drivers before they even enter the state, but then once they enter the state, especially our truck drivers and heavy hauls.
So we went to the 4 o'clock press conference, explained what was going on there. Hussein Alcansa's group had been able to put together maps showing the detour routes that we had described on the phone to TMC that were available. So we were able to get those out to our news partners very quickly. At 5 o'clock, we already had headline stories explaining detour routes and the priority of this repair. Tracy and I had by that time returned to the bridge, stayed on scene. I stayed till 9:30 or 10 o'clock, making sure that traffic was moving as best it could, checking with various groups to make sure we had everything we needed. Tracy stayed much later.
After we closed the bridge down, we looked at it and thought we had some ideas on how to do a permanent repair. So we started calling all our crews in. Every crew we had, we called in, bridge crew. And of course Brayman was there, and they helped us some in the beginning. They said, you know, the jackhammers you're using, you know, we use these more efficient jackhammers that Sunbelt rents. So we had them go get the newer jackhammers, and then we had an excavator with a hammer on it that we brought in. Was able to get the concrete out more efficiently.
Once we got the final confirmation that they were going to have to in fact shut the eastbound lanes down around 11:30, we initiated our traffic incident management plan, and it's composed of a lot of our regional partners, local partners, doing a lot of various things. Initially, once the lanes were closed, we put up a general message on our highway dynamic message signs, just alerting the public that there was a lane closure at that point on the Nitro Bridge. We then, once we realized we were in communication with the bridge engineers and realized kind of the scale of what was going on, we pushed those message boards back to our one on the Kentucky border. This information was also put out on our 511 services, our IVR, our app, our website.
From the standpoint of our field personnel, those guys that are out there and conveying the information to the TMC allows them to focus on what they're doing and let the Transportation Management Center communicate to everyone. Then everybody's getting the same message also internally. So while we do a lot externally with the public to make sure that they have the best information to make traveling decisions, internally everybody's working with the same information also, and that is a huge benefit. You know, we don't have these phone trees anymore. We push out accurate information.
We also contacted the 911 centers here locally, Cabell, Putnam, Wayne County, because we knew they would be impacted with any medical transports going to Charleston. We have a good relationship with our 911 centers, and try to keep them, anytime we have a road closure or anything like that, we try to keep them apprised of it due to the fact, like I said, for EMS transport coming to any of the Charleston hospitals. So we gave them a heads up.
One thing that worked really well is that we have a relationship with the law enforcement agencies in the area, and we were able to capitalize on that, pull them in. They helped immensely in being able to flag traffic. You can't pull 2 lanes of I-64, 60,000-ish vehicles per day onto a 2-lane roadway, and there's nothing you can do with those signals that's going to fully accommodate that. You can do what you can to make it run as efficiently as possible, but it's just it's more traffic than it can handle. So knowing that we were coming into a snowstorm on Friday, the law enforcement was able to flag those intersections and move traffic.
I called the district, and certainly I was able to speak to Tracy Brown. And so getting the lay of the land, how far back was traffic backed up, what were going to be the detours, along the detour route, did we have flaggers? So it was just real important that I gathered all of that information to be able to get information out to the public.
Friday morning, about 7 o'clock, the calls started coming in for high water. Our US 52 detour was in jeopardy of being closed due to high water. The folks on the ground took pictures, sent them in. We very quickly, within 30 minutes, had enough information to make clear, complete decisions because we had folks on the ground doing their job, and were able to keep that detour route open to maintain truck traffic. One small variance is we had to use the West Virginia 65 connector at Naugatuck rather than routing them through to Williamson. But again, the folks on the ground in Mingo County handled all that and flagged accordingly. So we were lucky that we had good people on the ground paying attention to the route, monitoring the flood areas. Rob Pennington and Scott Eplin were very involved in that. I think Mike Spry was actually in the field driving from spot to spot to make sure that the road stayed open, that there weren't any areas that we were at risk of losing during the heavy rains and high water.
It's a 70. It's a 70.
When the DOH pours concrete for a road surface, there's extreme testing that takes place. In other words, if the concrete mix isn't right, we'll refuse it. And how we determine that is an on-the-spot test. Each time you see asphalt being delivered, or concrete in this case, there's someone there from our materials division that will test that product. And how they do that on the concrete, they had tubes, or if you will, little colanders, that they poured samples in, and between each sample, I noticed one of our workers, and again, keep in mind, this is 20 degrees minus, or at least under 20 degrees. No gloves. He had to wash the cylinders. What's he do? He sticks it in the bucket. I picked up on that because I'm thinking, here I am shivering, and here he is dipping his hands in ice cold water in temperatures in the 20s.
I think the whole crew deserves a lot of credit to have jumped in and gotten this repaired. They worked 24 hours a day for 2 days to get this situation rectified and to cause as least inconvenience to our traveling public as we could.
This was a major, major task. And those Iron Men was out there all night long in that inclement weather under that bridge. Can you imagine the wind under that bridge alone? Not to mention the blowing snow and the falling temperatures. Getting that bridge joint back to the shape that it needed to be so that folks could drive across there without any worries about busting a tire or anything like that.
The men working were very diligent. They went about their business immediately. There weren't a lot of questions. Tracy gave them clear direction on the work. We were very fortunate that Aaron Randolph's company, Span One, was nearby and had a underbridge inspection truck available for us to get under and do the work, or we would have been significantly delayed there. But the men very quickly jumped in, started performing the work. There was no disorganization. It was very organized. The material they arranged for and had all the materials on site they needed. They did an impressive job getting the work done.
I'm just very proud of all the people that were involved in this and the coordination that happened between multiple agencies. This would not have gone as smoothly as it did if we did not have that communication. So I want to thank everybody involved that helped District 1 make sure that this repair was a success and kept it safe for the traveling public.
But our folks, especially the guys that were there in the bucket, underneath the bridge, in some really challenging environments. It was really cold and windy, to being up all night and working around the clock.
Well, if you want to look back, I mean, now you know what I've always known. The West Virginia Department of Highways is the best in the country at incident management, bar none. As a group, collectively, there's some superstars in there. There's some folks that really rise above and beyond and that really stand out. But I'm going to tell you, collectively, they're just that good.
You know, sometimes we take a bad rap with people driving by, seeing our workers standing by the road perhaps. They may be waiting on a load of concrete or a delivery of asphalt. You don't know what they're doing, but they're not wasting time. I'm proud of our guys and how they respond to emergencies.
Work was completed in less than the estimated 48 hours by hard-working people with ice-cold hands, tired eyes, and a strong sense of responsibility for the safety of others. The St. Albans Nitro Bridge, where traffic often bottlenecks even on a good day, is scheduled for improvement as part of an Interstate 64 widening project made possible by Governor Jim Justice's Roads to Prosperity program.
You know, of course, you don't want anything like this to happen at all. I mean, it's stressful for us. It's stressful for the public. It disrupts everybody. And but you've got to look for silver linings when you have something hard in life. And And one silver lining I see coming out of this is our crews, our bridge crews, they do work like this every day, and I'm very proud of them. And it does give an opportunity to show the public what these guys do, because normally it's all behind the scenes, and I think they deserve credit and accolades. I'm very proud of these guys. You know, we have iron workers, we have carpenters, we have crane operators, we have certified welders, you know, steel fabricators. They're very skillful, and they've had my respect all along.
I think in this case, our reaction couldn't have been better. Our people jumped in, did the right thing, worked hard, and got it done as quickly and efficiently as at all possible.
I can't tell you how proud I am of this organization, because they do the job that the people want them to do.